to have that kind of effect. Now, if you go back even further to a B-17, which had a bomb load of 5,000 pounds, and think of just a 20 megaton bomb, you'd have to have hundreds of planes with 10, in World War II, there were 10 men to a B-17s. Just multiply 1,000 planes with 10 men each carrying regular dumb bombs. So, was it worth it that we did what we did? You damn right well, because it would have cost a hell of a lot more lives than it would have. But just your reaction to these people 50 years later, and the effect, could I or anybody give you that kind of expression and show you what it has meant to all the years? Grant you, combat is much the same thing. It stays with you forever, and it affects you forever. But this is our story. This is what we live with. We don't know what's going to happen. I mentioned guinea pigs, and I mentioned the British. I got this honorary position because they stole, as they say, they stole my phrase. The British nuclear vets called themselves the guinea pigs. That's this button. And I was given this at the national sales meeting by the British contingent because, as I said, they stole the guinea pig from me. There is data out there that says that the atmospheric tests that were conducted through 1962, when the above ground tests were stopped, may be responsible for as many as 300 to 600,000 leukemia deaths in the world. That's only one thing. There are others with thyroid cancer and other things. We have still not been recognized for any line of duty, nor even a buddy service medal. They offer now, last Congress offered a certificate of appreciation. I used more toilet paper than that. We're hoping that the next bill is passed, the appropriations bill. They have finally funded the appropriation for a service medal for the atomic veterans. Just pray that it goes through. Yes, ma'am?
Do the Chinese or the North Koreans today have that kind of capability?
Oh, much more.
Much more. Well, thank you.
We're not in the kilotons range anymore. We're in the megatons range. Now, I don't know what the Chinese have. I don't know what their weaponry is, but the ability to put together a nuclear weapon, now they're, okay, what fusion and fission get me all screwed up. The hydrogen bomb type are the ones that can go even higher. The Russian Tsar bomb that I mentioned that only was 50 megatons, it had a capability of being 100 megatons. Just as the A-10, you could dial in one or the other. This particular one, they can't even use it because it's too big. The 50 megaton bomb broke windows 500 miles away. The sound was heard 600 miles away. Thank God there was no crater because the bomb was set off at 4,000 feet in the air. The fireball never hit the ground. The plane barely got away. The plane could barely carry the bomb. So the only saving grace is you probably kill as many of your own people as you will the enemy, and you'll have nothing to show for it in the end. We can only pray that people have some sanity. You know, it is that devastating. And we live. I call my son, we talk every week, because I don't know what genetic fault. The British have done a version of this, and one of the British mentions where his daughter actually grew a hump and grew hair all over her body, and they had to shave her twice a day from the genetic effects. In the 22-minute version of this that I mentioned more of the, I don't know what genetic effect there will be. And a couple of the guys, well, the president of the National Association of Atomic Vets was rendered sterile because of the bomb. Now, in my kidding around earlier, that you know, there had been, I always kidded my wife that I had Army surplus sperm, and luckily we were able to have one kid. Now, what Italian family do you know has just one kid?
Right.
Right. So, but you know, I didn't know. I had to put it away in a box and not talk about it. And now, thanks again to Steve, I can let it out. And it makes me feel whole again. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Why did they actually send them out there? Was it just to observe, or did they want to see the effect on their bodies?
We were guinea pigs.
Okay.
There was another shot, Smokey, and the shot Hood that was mentioned. Matthew, what was the rate of leukemia on?
Statistically significant out of all the cancers that I read. That one passed. It was more prevalent than many more of the cancers. That one was statistically significant in the study done.
Almost twice, more than twice the normal rate of leukemia from those veterans. The study was done on Smokey, which was the last bomb that I saw, which was set off against a hill, and that the radiation kind of came over this way, and I had to go back in. Before the shot, I did the aerial photography of the equipment, and after the shot, we had to go in and do an after shot. I was supposed to wait longer than 2 weeks, but the hell with it. And we went into a hot zone. We stayed on the Jeep and took the pictures and got the hell out of there. But that rate of leukemia was higher by 2 and 3 times the factor.
So did they know they were going in? Did they ask for volunteers, or you just?
No,
just
not in 1950. You go, you're 20 years old, you're 18 years old, you conquer the world, you're Superman.
Yeah, you're gonna live forever.
You're gonna live forever, and you laugh about it. You know, before this, when I ever talked about the experience, I talked about other experiences. I talked about the Vegas showgirls that came and entertained the troops, and we did that. I talk about the trying to do aerial photography, and the radio didn't work, and as we're coming over Yucca Flats, there's a F-81 armed with its guns showing because we hadn't checked in. And the blast from his jet was rocking the airplane. Now the pilot quickly got the message, and the radio started working right away. And we had, every time, when I needed a Jeep, I'd go, the first time I went to the motor pool, I said I had to deliver some pictures, and I go to the motor pool. I'm a second lieutenant, and you got the sergeant there that's in charge of the motor pool. I think you all know what a sergeant at the motor pool is like, with a cigar and everything. Lieutenant, what can I do for you? Sergeant, I need a Jeep. I took some pictures over to the AEC, the Atomic Energy Commission? Well, I don't know, sir. Let me take a look. Oh, Sergeant, you see these pictures? You like would you like a picture? Are you kidding me, Lieutenant? Here, take a couple. Corporal gets the general's jeep for the lieutenant. And then when I came back, I didn't have to wash the jeep. He said, Corporal, take the lieutenant to his quarters. And from then on,
That's right.
and every one of my enlisted men, when they had KP, went armed with 8x10s of atomic blast. None of them ever had garbage duty. So that was what I spoke about rather than the emotional aspect of this all. Anything else? I thank you all.